So I always hope a film finds people, right? It's like why we do what we do as filmmakers, is hopefully tell interesting stories about things that we're passionate about and people resonate with. But the reality was I didn't expect it to impact this many people. I filmed this in 3 days, 5 days after the event was over. It was live online, and now, a year later, over 1 million people have seen this film. And today, we're gonna talk about what happens when a documentary goes viral. If you're new here, hey, I'm Rue. I'm an adventure filmmaker and documentary director based out of Boulder, Colorado. This is my big yellow van, and today I'm gonna talk about what it means when documentaries go viral. Documentaries are often celebrated for their slower storytelling, their emotional payoffs, and their character development. But today in social media, we see a lot of quick hits, a lot of retention style editing to keep people hooked in the stories that we're trying to tell. When I made my film about the Barkley Marathons last year, I was doing none of that. My goal going there was to try to tell a meaningful story about a group of people and a type of event that I found to be really fascinating. I made a whole behind the scenes video about the Barkley Marathon so you can watch my real world experience, but in short, Barkley Marathons is an almost impossible event. The year I filmed the race, nobody even finished. It's designed to be right on the brink of possible, which I think is fascinating. To have all these elite athletes come together and potentially not even finish the race was a story that I was really interested in learning more about. Oh, hey, quick thing. I write a free newsletter about outdoor storytelling, creative clarity, and building memorable content I think you'll enjoy. If you want to keep learning how to make work that's thoughtful, profitable, and creative, it's linked in the description below. All right. Back to the video. So the race itself was interesting, but filming it became its own sort of ultra marathon and its own sort of challenge. I had very little sleep because I had to stay up around the clock to make sure that I wasn't missing an athlete or any part of the story. I had to edit during the event, so right as soon as the event was over, we had social media reels ready and the story was able to be broken. Within 5 days after the event, I had this 20-minute documentary ready and published online. Over 250,000 views flooded in right away, and now a year later, it's past 1 million views, which for me, personally, this was not a project that I expected to do a large number of views. But I think there's a handful of takeaways that I think can be valuable here, so let me walk through them. The first thing I want to talk about is the value of documentary storytelling in today's day and age. I think there is a value and an appetite for this longer form storytelling starting to develop. I think honestly, audiences are getting a little tired of like fast-paced edits and high-paced videos. They want something that they can watch on their TV, slow down, and relax. And I think documentaries give people that chance to relax a little bit. This is one of the reasons I was really drawn to the outdoor storytelling genre in the first place, is I think the outdoors has a really relaxing, calming effect on us. And in today's society, with social media being what it is, and with the internet being what it is, and all these technologies really designed to keep us on them, I think the outdoors can be a really amazing place to just reset and find your center of balance and find your peace. And when you're watching a really well done outdoor story and outdoor film, you might receive some secondhand benefits and mentally can kind of relax and calm down at the end of the day, which is I think why this film ended up resonating with a lot of people. Is the opening is relatively slow. I do a lot of fast-paced opening retention style edits here on YouTube to try to get intros to people to watch, but this documentary was different and I really wanted to slow down and sort of set the scene for the Barkley Marathons. And I think people watching that, the whole intro had no music and people could kind of just settle in and see what the Barkley Marathons was all about. It's this mysterious event. There's a lot of curiosity behind it. There's a lot of lore behind it. Being there in person, getting to experience some of that for myself was really magical, but I think just being shrouded in mystery and being shrouded in this outdoor mystique kind of hooked people right away without having to do really fast-paced sort of storytelling. So for me, I think the first thing I find really impactful about this experience for myself is seeing that people are resonating with slower, more meaningful, more in-depth stories about things that are happening in the outdoors. And by no means during this process, any part of this process was I trying to like engineer virality. I wasn't trying to go viral by any means. I definitely was not in this for the views. I was in this to tell the best story about this possible and trying to be true to this experience, and by nature of documenting this thing that I think is pretty special, people gleaned onto that. And I think it's a good lesson for you as filmmakers is to stay true to who you are. This Barkley Marathons film, honestly, is very similar to a lot of my other films. There are a lot of like Rue Smith style tropes when you're watching that. And I think for me, the takeaway was that if I'm staying true to the genre and the style that I created for myself, this uplifting, positive storytellings about hope, joy, and adventure in the outdoors, that will carry over through the film and eventually will start to break through the noise. This wasn't necessarily my first project to get a lot of attention. I've screened at bunches of film festivals, screened in AMC theaters nationwide. I've had a lot of streaming deals and projects come my way that are of, from me, notable importance. But seeing the numbers come through online was actually a really interesting turning point for me, not as a filmmaker, not in the types of work I got and not as how I perceived myself, but more in the fact that I noticed that the appetite for documentary storytelling is so much higher online now. And I think we're starting to see a shift in how documentary filmmaking is being perceived. For a long time, we saw that festivals and streamers and distributors were sort of the barrier to success. And once your project got greenlit by one of those organizations or one of those people, you could carry your documentary to the next level. And that meant bigger paychecks, that meant bigger views, that meant more people being aware of you as a filmmaker. But now, given that long form storytelling has a place online, and my video being one of dozens that has crossed the 1 million view mark, especially in the ultra running space, millions and millions of people are interested in watching long form documentaries online, which means that festivals and streamers and distributors might not have as much power as we once thought they did, especially in the documentary niche. Which means that the timeline for discovery can be a lot shorter. For me, normally how it goes is I will make a film, which I'll prep it, I'll film it, I'll edit it, I'll distribute it to film festivals, and I'll wait like a whole year. So I made a ski film last year that no one's seen, that is being toured around film festivals as we speak, and probably won't be seen online for another 6 months until next fall or next winter. But when you're able to have experiences like I had with the Barkley Marathons, where I filmed it in 3 days, edited it in 5, it was online, and was able to get over 250,000 views within a week after I'd even started filming the project, we're seeing this timeline really start to compress, which can have a pretty long-standing effect on how you can develop as a filmmaker. Instead of waiting years and years for 3 or 4 of your filmmaking projects to be released and screened, you can now compress that timeline, get more films out, tell more stories, grow your career faster, get more introduced. You can get your portfolio built, you can make more connections, you can start to get feedback right away on what works and what doesn't by looking at the comments of your videos. Things are starting to change in the documentary industry, for good and for bad, but I do think it's really exciting to see how we can let these experiences of long-form storytelling having a place online now inspire us to do better, more meaningful, and more impactful work as documentary and adventure filmmakers. Finally, what I want to conclude with is that I think making these documentaries is an incredibly special opportunity for us as filmmakers to show our voice, to show our empathy towards certain communities, to put ourselves out there in these communities, meet people, be real with people, and showcase who we are as filmmakers and as people. Documentary storytelling can become a sort of campfire where we all sit around and tell stories about things that we've seen in this world and people that inspire us. And I think what's really exciting about seeing documentaries get more views online, this being one example of many and many and many, I'm not necessarily special by having a documentary that passes 1 million views. I'm sure that happens every day. But I think what is exciting to me is the effect that you can have on people through your documentaries. It gave people something to watch, something to talk about, something to share. And I think what's really exciting going forward is that we can continue to shape narratives that we think can make the world a better place, a more kind place, a more uplifting place, telling stories of people that motivate us to push ourselves past our limits, remind us the power of families and the role that love can play in our lives. So going forward, hopefully you can watch this video and realize, hey, Rue seems like a pretty normal guy. I might be able to do something like this too. And I absolutely, totally believe that you can. So I encourage you to go out and make something special for yourself. Don't do it for anybody other than you. When I went to make this Barkley Marathon documentary, I really just wanted to do it for me. It was a storytelling challenge of a community and an event that I found to be super fascinating. And I wanted to hold up a mirror to some of the special things that I would anticipate that I would see there, and thankfully got to experience while I was on the ground in Tennessee filming this project. But I didn't go at it with the intention of, I'm gonna go viral, I'm gonna get a bunch of views, and it's gonna transform my career as a filmmaker. Not at all. The goal is always to tell the most meaningful story, to inspire people along the way, to go out and live more authentic, beautiful lives in the outdoors, calm themselves, and be excited to be better people to their community, to the world around them, and to themselves. So with that, thanks so much for watching. I love you, I'm proud of you. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, Editor Rue here. Before you go, I really think you're gonna like that newsletter for free in the description below. I'm limited on how many YouTube videos I can make because it's just me and I work full-time as an adventure filmmaker, but there's a lot of free value in that newsletter. So check it out. I'll see you in the next video.